Good day, my name is Sheriff Atonda. So, the title for my project is Apple's Progress Towards Reaching Carbon Neutrality. So, I believe Apple is a company that is focused on developing products. So, they are known for producing products such as iPhone, for instance. So, carbon neutrality, I want to start by defining what carbon neutrality means. Carbon neutrality is simply the process whereby either an individual or an organization balances the amount of carbon it is releasing into the atmosphere by also providing means in which the carbon that is released into the atmosphere are being taken back. So that is the definition of carbon neutrality. So Apple seeks to reach carbon neutrality by 2030. So now to the introduction. Now this project was the motivation for this project was from Maven Analytics. So Maven Analytics is a an e-learning company that focuses on teaching various skills. They teach software such as Excel, Power BI, Tableau, etc. So I'll be moving to the link. I already opened the link above here, so I'll be going there. So as you can see, Maven Environmental Challenge. So now let me just scroll to the challenge of, I mean, the aim of the project. So I won't be reading all this. I'll just summarize them so as to make the video as short as possible. So in 2020, after announcing their corporate emissions, Apple made Apple pledged to make its products carbon neutral by 2030. To achieve this goal, they set their emissions for 2015. That means the emission for 2015 of greenhouse gases, which is measured in metric tons, in 2015 for Apple was 38.4 million metric tons. So Apple made it known that these emissions by 2015 will be the baseline. That means to be a reference point, and they aim to reduce this 38.4 million metric by 75% by 2030. So if the emissions that are released, let's for instance, the emissions released are, let's say they are 100%, which in this case study now 100%, which would have a value. So they will be reducing this by 75%. By reducing by 75%, there will be 25% remaining. So the remaining 25% will be removed using carbon offset. Carbon offset, one of the ways to explain this is a process in which the carbon that has been released into the atmosphere are being absorbed. An example is afforestation. So trees are known to absorb carbon dioxide. Yes, they are known to absorb carbon dioxide. So this is what um, Apple's goal is for 2030. So I embarked on this project due to my passion and interest for climate change. So that is why I embarked on this project, and based on my background from meteorology and climate science. So I'll be moving back to the presentation. So these are the datasets that were provided. So there were three datasets for this project. One is carbon footprint by product, then that is by their products, iPhone 6x all through to the latest one as at 2022. So the greenhouse gases emission, this in front, this are the columns in the data set, and normalizing factors such as the fiscal revenue, fiscal year revenue, market capitalization, and employee. Now, I already mentioned the problem statement earlier that I will be working as a data analyst to visualize the project so far. So I'll also be moving to the to Tableau Public. Tableau Public is where this visual can be interacted with. So instead of me clicking here, I already opened the page already here, which is here. So this is the dashboard that is showing Apple's progress. So over here where my cursor is just a brief overview of what the project is about. So this is it. Now to the revenue aspects, the number of employees and the market capitalization. Now from 2016 to 2019, there is the kind of trend is that at some point the revenue was increasing, and at some point also it was decreasing from 2016 to 20. We can over around this. For instance, for 2015, the revenue was okay, that's due to network. So the revenue was, okay, let me do that again. So the revenue was $233.72 billion. So to 2016, there was a decrease. So from 223 to 215. So the reason why I said I'll be considering from 2020 downwards is because there was an increase. So revenue here was 274 billion. Number of employees was 147,000. So let me move to 2021. So from 274 it moved to 365. Also the number of employees increased. So what this is saying is that over the years, there has been increase in the number of employees, the revenue, and market capitalization. And these three information here, increase in revenue, that is to show that the products produced by Apple, that they are in demand. Yes, that they are in demand. And increase in number of employee, this is an indicator that Apple um, is progressing when it comes to every of their operations. That is what they are doing. That means they are advancing, bringing in experts from all areas just to ensure that the the goal of reaching carbon neutrality is being achieved. And market capitalization also, this was also increasing, and this is an indicator to of how, let me say, for the investors, for those that will be investing in this in Apple now, this is an indicator to show them that Apple is doing fine even when it comes to its financial growth. So this is, when investors see this, they have they are assured that the company has an ability to, to generate more profits even in the future. So now to this portion of this dashboard, emission timeline excluding carbon removal. This is a visual that is showing how there has been a decrease. You can see from 2015, this is the baseline, 38.4 metric tons of carbon dioxide. Yes, of carbon dioxide. So there has been a decrease. At some point in 2019, there was a slight increase. So currently, as of 2022, that was last year, it has been reduced by 54%. Earlier, I said they plan to reduce emissions, that is from 2015 to 2030. They plan to reduce their emission, setting 2015 as their baseline. They plan to reduce it by 75%. But so far, by performing some analysis, they've been able to reduce this by 54% and not 75%. So since this is 2022, there is still 8 years. There are 8 years more for them to still be able to achieve. So this is telling us that so far Apple has been making progress towards reducing their emissions. So if they've been able to reduce their emission by 54% so far, the remaining 46% are left to be removed. That means when you subtract 54 from 100. So I'll move over to the next portion of the dashboard. So this is the carbon footprint by product life cycle and release year. That means for every of their products, from the process whereby it was manufactured to when it was produced, it was transported to those that will be selling the product, even up to the final consumers. So in 2015, looking at this bar chart here, sorry, this one earlier is an area chart. So now this is a bar chart. So for iPhone 6s, the carbon footprint, this is the unit here, that is kilogram um, carbon dioxide equivalent. So it was 54, it increased to 56. So from 2020 also, just like the above, when I spoke about revenue, number of employees, and market capitalization, there has been a decrease. So for from iPhone 12, which was produced in 2020, the value for the carbon footprint was 70, so down to 64, to 61, and to 56 as at this year. Yes, so we can see that Apple is moving towards their goal of reaching carbon neutrality. So on to the next portion of the slide here. Now, I said earlier that when Apple set 2015 as their baseline, they plan to cut off emissions by 75%. Now, the remaining 25%, which is to be taken away by carbon offset, as of 2016, there was no carbon offset project. 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, this is showing a zero. And what this zero means is that Apple did not take any step towards reducing the emissions they've generated into the atmosphere. They didn't take any step. But as at 2019, okay, this is 2021. Okay, let me start from here. From 20, as you can see, following the line chart, as at 2020, there was a bit of progress, a bit of action put into place to reduce this, but it was not enough, unlike this 2021. And the reason why there is this downward trend is to say that Apple embarked on two projects in 2021, and one of them is afforestation. That is in Colombia, the mangrove forest. Apple did the project in which they planted trees. And what these trees will be doing is that they will be absorbing the carbon that has been produced, that has been emitted by Apple. Yes, that has been emitted by Apple in the atmosphere. This project will be reduced. Will be bringing it. Will be absorbing it. Also, they switched to clean energy. That means the mode in which they generate their energy, their power. So they switched to a clean energy, making use of solar panels. Yes, I mean electric grids. So that is what this chart here is saying. Then to the next chart, this is carbon emission accounting by scope. For every company, there is a way every of their activities that leads to emission, there is a way they are being classified generally, even all over the world. So scope 1 is simply it simply involves direct emission, such as when it comes to emissions from the vehicles that are being used by the company. So for every of their vehicles that are being used, there are certain emissions from it. So that one can be allotted to scope 1. Also, when it comes to the appliances that are being used, the air conditioners, the refrigerants, and the industrial processes, they can be classified as scope 1. While for scope 2, they are indirect emissions, such as when it comes to the heating and cooling system of the company, yes, that is one. Also, when they purchase electricity, that is also when electricity is being purchased, maybe to power some of their gadgets in the company, be it their boilers, etc. While for scope 3, these are those emissions that are not captured in scope 1 and scope 2. So an example of this is the supply chain activity of the company. That is from the extraction of the raw materials to the production stage, when it gets to the consumers, and even after the product is being disposed by the user. So this is what scope 3 measures. And also another example of scope 3 emission is when it comes to the transportation of the employees. Let's say there's a meeting in a country, and I mean, in a country different from the company's location, and the company needs to send delegates. So the process whereby the delegates move from this company to the location whereby the meeting will be taking place, either by transportation or be it through the air, there is a certain amount of emissions that is emitted. So these are taken to scope 3. Now, since scope 1 and scope 2 are over the years, they are less in value. Looking at scope 3 here, they are very, very much. So 38 million metric tons here. So although it was decreasing, but there can still be more work done. So that is why this last chart is here, which is showing the specific areas of the scope 3. So we can see that the manufacturing aspect of the product is is producing a lot of emission, which is over 70%. So the manufacturing phase, also the product use. An example of this product use is the process whereby users charge their gadget. For instance, if the source of electricity, if it is from, let's say from a system whereby it has to do with producing emission into the atmosphere. In this case, by charging the gadget, they are also contributing indirectly to the emission of greenhouse gases. So another one is transportation. That means the place whereby the product are being moved from the company to where the buyers, I mean those that will sell the product to the end users. Yes, and the business travel, that one also has a minute percentage. So this is my explanation of the dashboard. Now to the insight. The insight I've been explained earlier, they are everything produced here in the dashboard. So I just reproduce them in words here. Now to the recommendation. So first of all is I will recommend that Apple invest more in carbon offset projects, such as planting more trees. Yes, and even when it comes to transitioning to renewable energy, even for every of their products, there's a way they can ensure that they are in line with their neutrality project. Also, scope 3 emissions can be reduced by engaging suppliers and encouraging them to use measures and reduce emissions. This is just to those who will be transporting the products of Apple, like the vehicles. There is a way the vehicles can be efficient. Yes, instead of using maybe a fuel combustion engine, other means can be used to solve this. Also, number 3, regular monitor, measure and report emission data for accountability. That is, there should be, just like currently there is I'm doing a report, so it should not just be a one-time stuff. It should be something that should be progressive, maybe per month or every 3 months, just to track progress. Also, focus on designing products that are more efficient and have a lower impact during their used phase. That means, speaking of the materials used for their design, there should be transition, so that they've been doing this, but there can be more. And also, lastly, promote virtual meetings and telecommuting to reduce the need for business travel. This is saying, instead of the individuals that will be representing the companies to travel, they can they can do virtual meetings. In that way, there won't be emission. So that is recommended. Now to the conclusion. So Apple has been able to, after the analysis, I concluded that from the analysis also that Apple has been making progress. So by continuing their efforts, Apple is not only setting a remarkable example for the corporate world, but also contributing to a greener and more sustainable future. Thank you.